So not only do we see most of the superheroes in America murdered, but we also see Wolverine being thrown into the mix against some of his most powerful and iconic villains, with Wolverine even failing to save some of the heroes' lives. Now this is the Hero Informer, and let's get into it. So there are a couple very important distinctions to note here. First of all, this comic being in an alternate universe, meaning it doesn't follow the exact 616 canon timeline, and even sets itself up for some very crazy twists. And the second thing is the backstory of what happened here. As the comic even goes on to say and explain, 10 days ago there was an asteroid, one known as Asteroid M, that burned up upon re-entry into Earth. And as it did, it killed a lot of people with it, including Magneto. And because of this, when Magneto breathed his last breath, when he died, it released the largest EMP in the history of mankind, turning the entire northern hemisphere, without power, straight into darkness. But somewhere where none of these events affected it nearly as much is the Savage Lands, where we see our main story initially pick up, with a local tribe there hunting and trying to survive its lands. But now they have a special guest in the form of the Wolverine, which is not only the most randomest thing ever, but also the coolest thing. Like, who doesn't love to see Wolverine just riding a Triceratops? But it seems the reason why Logan is on this trip hunting with this local tribe is because getting out in the wild, hunting and maiming animals, giant, dangerous, carnivorous animals, is Wolverine's version of a vacation. Fun. As when a large beast finally does emerge and chomps, killing the Triceratops that he was riding on, Wolverine does not falter and run like the rest of the tribe does. No, he stands his ground, pops his claws with a smile on his face, getting ready to engage in combat with the dinosaur. And of course, I say combat like this isn't a one-sided, short-lived stomp of a battle. Wolverine just absolutely mauling this creature, because being an almost unkillable mutant with indestructible claws has its advantages. One's being that he can slice and tear, which you see him literally disemboweling the creature without fear of dying or getting hurt. But even while he is covered in the guts of the creature he just cut into, he goes on to say to an off-screen figure that I came down here to unwind, unplug, and disappear. But then you made a mistake of interrupting my vacation. And this person he is talking to is none other than Nick Fury with S.H.I.E.L.D. And Wolverine, now being ticked off that his vacation is being interrupted by more superhero and government stuff, he tells Fury that he better have a good reason for being here. But Fury himself is flabbergasted, with him going on to say, "My God, you really don't know, do you? While you were down here, disconnected, the entire world has lost its mind. And it's on its last leg. Logan, I'm here to recruit you. I need you and America needs you." But Wolverine immediately goes to shut this down, turning away saying, "Hate to break it to you, but I'm Canadian," which on any other time would have been it. Wolverine would have walked away, conversation over, he wouldn't help. But Nick Fury then says something very alarming. He tells Wolverine that the bad news is there really isn't a Canada anymore, which of course catches Logan's attention, as he does eventually agree to go with them as we move over and pick up in the middle of the helicarrier and the last remnants of whatever is left of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself. But here we see Fury further explain the situation, talking specifically to his strike team and whatever heroes that are left that he can gather, which we saw Wolverine, but we also see Captain America and Bucky as they sit on board of the last 3 surviving helicarriers that weren't already destroyed. But Nick Fury goes on to further say and explain that nearly 100 million people are already dead, but they should be grateful because it could have been way worse. But the fact remains that what we knew as the West probably has less than a week before it's finally gone for good. And those millions very quickly become billions dead. And the only thing that saved Nick Fury and the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. from perishing was that S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time of the meteor and Magneto were on the other side of the world, running a secret operation. And as Captain America speaks up saying, "Aren't we focusing on the wrong thing? Shouldn't we be helping saving as many people we can, not running some kind of military op that we are here?" But Nick Fury goes on to simply explain his plans, saying that the EMP that was released fried everything. There isn't a working phone, computer, light bulb, train, or plane for thousands of miles that will ever work again. And the only way to save people now is to find a way to turn the lights back on. So no, this isn't some kind of military operation. It's a heist in which they are trying to steal the only cold fusion seed reactor to ever exist, something that would generate perpetual energy regardless of the EMP that went off. But there are 2 problems, of course. The first one is, well, they don't have it and it isn't theirs. And the second problem is the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants currently own it, which is being ran and controlled by Mastermind, who is a villain that can basically create illusions, mind control, and any other trickery like that. And so with them being a couple 100 miles out, everybody gears up, ready to storm this front and sneak in to try and save what is left of America, and possibly save the rest of the world from crumbling along with it. Because as Nick Fury goes on to say, "We'll be at the site in 20 minutes. Everybody say your prayers, get right with God, and be ready to do your job." And of course, in normal comic fashion, nothing can ever go right for the heroes, as 20 minutes later, instead of safely landing at the landing zone, one of the last 3 remaining S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarriers just randomly explodes. But as it will turn out, it's anything but random, as we find out the mastermind is using his mind control on some of the different SHIELD agents, causing the helicarriers to attack and destroy each other. And as the last two rocket towards each other for a head-on collision, everybody panics and rushes out, with only the immediate strike team having parachutes and ready to deploy under, leaving the rest of SHIELD with Nick Fury on the helicarrier, sacrificing himself and dying as the two collide and explode. But it seems Fury's sacrifice won't be in vain, as the heroes do manage to jump down and land safely, getting ready to complete their mission and try to save the world as it is now. But of course, even though the heroes have a general plan, they are still going in kind of blind. You see, they don't know the immediate danger, what kind of teams, what kind of villains are fully here. So they decide to split up, which in hindsight probably isn't the best idea. As you will see, it goes wrong very, very quickly. But still, individually, these heroes are very capable on their own. But not capable enough, as we see the heroes get blindsided and jumped by various villains. Deadpool, Omega Red, Sabretooth even, taking out these SHIELD agents one by one, killing them as they move on to the heroes. With Sabretooth blindsiding and taking on Bucky, knocking him out. Captain America sliding down the side of a hill using his shield, is also blindsided by Omega Red being wrapped up and captured as well. And lastly, the last one standing, Wolverine, probably the most capable hero out of the three, which let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Wolverine is a better combatant and could beat Captain America in a fight? Because if you think about it, Wolverine is really just a better Captain America. Now maybe technically he isn't as strong, fast, because he doesn't have a super soldier serum, but his indestructible adamantium skeleton and healing factor more than makes up for it. And while Wolverine isn't, say, as skilled in hand-to-hand combat, he probably also makes up for it with his experience. Being almost 200 plus years, he has been in and a part of all kinds of wars and battles. But let me know in the comments, who do you think would actually win? But as I've said before, Wolverine being the last one standing, he gets the worst of it, as we see the villain trio, Sabretooth, Omega Red, and Deadpool appear out of nowhere to gang up on Wolverine, with Sabretooth being the closest thing to Wolverine's arch enemy that decides instead of taking Logan from afar and ambushing him, they are going to give him a fair quote-unquote fight, as they all jump in starting the battle. Now Wolverine is able to somewhat hold his own for a little bit, but eventually he is overwhelmed, because technically each of these villains in their own right could battle Wolverine on an almost even playing field. So with them all teaming up, eventually and unfortunately Logan does go down. And with that, the heroes then wake up, defeated and chained together in some sort of secret hideout. And as Captain America points out, he can feel something is wrong with his chest. They all can. And this is especially puzzling for Wolverine, as his healing factor shouldn't allow someone to implant anything or do anything to him. But as it seems now, the heroes have totally got outclassed and outmaneuvered. And the villain Mastermind, who is the leader and, well, mastermind of this entire operation for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants that are here, goes on to greet the defeated heroes and explain to Wolverine how he did it. Because he goes on to say that even though he has a brilliant and gifted mind, it took no small number of pre-mutations and combinations of Omega Red's diseases before they found one strong enough to temporarily shut off his healing factor, so they can get something inside of him, specifically behind his ribcage, so his body wouldn't be able to push it out as he healed. And as it turns out, the thing inside of Wolverine and Captain America and Bucky here is a bomb planted deep within their chest that they can't really get out. But it seems like things aren't done getting as crazy, as we see even Colossus are working with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, out of his own free will it seems like. Why? Well, because it seems he is done with the West, which includes his heroes in Wolverine now, putting previous X-Men against X-Men. But it seems like Colossus still has somewhat of a heart now, as he goes on to say, perhaps I should let you guys go home, to help your people prepare for a cold winter and to bury those who do not survive it. Basically declaring war on the West, and that they plan to come and raise down whatever the asteroid and Magneto didn't. But Deadpool then goes on to say, while pushing a button on his device, that not only were the bombs his idea, which of course they were, but they're also meant as a deterrent. As you see, this remote control device he has is the trigger, and so just in case they decide not to leave and continue to fight to steal the seed, it will go boom, killing them instantly. And so with them actually free now, they of course start to make their escape, but not all of them, as Wolverine decides to stay, because not only does he think he's not going to make the trip, but he has unfinished business here with the other mutants. And for Captain America and Bucky to let everybody know what happened here and see if they can get help, as the two run off to try and get out of the bomb's radius and range. But Wolverine mainly stayed behind because he wants answers, because as you know previously he was in the Savage Lands on a vacation, if you will, so all of this happening now is crazy and new to him. He has no idea what or who or how he's supposed to process this. So as he starts to question Colossus, Colossus just says, what is there to even explain? Not only did we not cause any of this, but we are just as much victims as this as you are. And the only reason they have power from the crazy EMP is because a villain known as Eunice the Untouchable died protecting this place. And here's where things get absolutely crazy, because Deadpool then chimes in saying, and there's the theme for today, everybody has got to go sometime. And with that, he looks down at his remote control that has 3 distinct buttons, one for Captain America, one for Bucky, and the other for Wolverine, as he literally starts pressing each one individually. And of course these are tied to the bombs all in their chest, as the first one he touches is the Winter Soldier's, blowing him up and killing him instantly. And of course next is Captain America, who is also next to go and perish by the hands of this evil team. And of course lastly is Wolverine, but thinking quickly he then pops his claws and starts to dig into his own chest, thinking to pull the bomb out before they even have a chance or the satisfaction of exploding him from the inside out. But Colossus then says he really wishes it wouldn't have to be this way, but it does, and someone must lose. And today, it is the West. And it's you, old friend, as Deadpool pushes the button saying bye bye America, and to you, Wolverine, their hat, blowing Wolverine up from the inside out, leaving nothing but blood bits in his adamantium skeleton. As this brotherhood of evil mutants look at the mess and then turn around walking away, because in their own words, now they must take the seed and reclaim and relight their half of the world, because Mastermind, who is in charge of the team here, is using this opportunity to finally destroy the West, as he goes on to even say as much, telling everybody that when the sun rises, it will shine on their flourishing lands and on the graves of the West, for they will all be gone and there will be no one left to remember them. But just then the corpse and bloody bits of Wolverine start to move, still smoking from the force of the explosion, as ligaments, muscles, and tissues start to slowly rebuild themselves, regenerate, as he starts to get up piece by piece, bit by bit. Logan absolutely angry that he was betrayed, almost assassinated, and watched his friends die in front of him, as we see a gnarly shot of Wolverine healing up, looking absolutely feral. And of course with the title of the comic being named Wolverine's Revenge, it is almost guaranteed that he will get sweet revenge for what they have done to him. But for now, that is the end of the story as the video comes to a close. If you've enjoyed, of course, leave a like, or subscribe if you're new and like this type of content. Leave all your thoughts and comments down below. Now this was the Hero Informer, and as always, thank you for watching.